Hello and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 334. I almost forgot how to intro the show because I was looking up magic cards on Target's website. I'm Ben, and with me here today are Dave and Brandon, also known colloquially as the Beautiful Boys. Gentlemen, how are you? Dave, you go first.
Sure. I'm good. I had an interesting weekend. And I don't know if you guys have like companies that you prefer not to deal with, but I think there's like certain companies and certain industries where it's like they've just kind of made themselves so widely available that it's almost impossible to avoid them.
Yeah.
Thinking about like, if you want fast food, you're probably going to come across a McDonald's first. If you want something cheap to buy on the internet that's going to be in your front door the next day, even if you hate Jeff Bezos, you're probably going to have to go to Amazon. If you're helping someone move, you're probably going to have to rent a U-Haul. And
Yeah.
I helped somebody move on the weekend, and I've not had the best luck with U-Haul,
Mhm.
and it was another pretty shitty experience with them. First of all, they have this like reservation system where you can reserve a U-Haul, but the truck you want and the place you want to pick it up, it's like I swear when U-Haul takes your reservation, the response is we'll fucking see. Because what they do is they call you like 24 hours before your reservation to tell you if your reservations are confirmed. In every experience I've had, they've said your truck isn't available there, or we have to give you one that's like 5 feet shorter, all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
kind of dealing with that nonsense. But the funny thing about the U-Haul thing on the weekend was when I picked up the truck, when I dropped it off, when I picked it up, the units were in miles, and we speak the Queen's English up here. So I changed it to kilometers and drove the truck, did my thing. And then when I went to drop it off, the guy checking it in, who the drop off point was just at some convenience store, and the guy had no clue what he was doing. But he's like trying to figure this out, and he comes to me and he's like, "When did you pick up this truck?" And I said, "I picked it up this morning." And he's like, "There must be some sort of glitch in the system because it shows you drove 30,000 miles today." I was like, "What the fuck?" And I immediately was like, "Okay, it's you got to convert because
Yeah.
I have it in kilometers, and those were the checked in kilometers." And so it's just little shit like that that's just really annoyed me with U-Haul. But there's U-Hauls everywhere, and if you want to move someone, you're gonna have to get a U-Haul. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, you know, it is what it is.
It reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where he goes, "You know how to. This is how U-Haul is every time.
Anybody can take a reservation.
Anybody, you know how to take a reservation. You just don't know how to keep it."
It's exactly
Yes,
that. Yeah.
that
So
is U-Haul. I've had good and bad experiences with U-Haul. In fairness, I've had experiences where I was like, "Oh, they're going to give me shit about this," and then it was totally fine. And other experiences where I like drop off the truck and they call me the next day and they're like, "Uh, we're expecting the truck back," and I'm like, "It's in your parking lot." They're like, "It's not," and I'm like, "That's not my fault because it was there. Check your tapes." Never had any like crazy charges or anything like you would expect, but they did try to charge me $900 one time for a dolly that I didn't even rent. So
wow.
yeah,
That's a good dolly. Was it
and
solid gold?
I literally said to the guy, I was like, "Do you guys manufacture the dollies? Because if you do, I'd like a job in whatever division that is. If you're selling them for $900, because it must be a good paycheck." Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need no
Boycott
stinking
U-Haul.
dolly.
Boycott U-Haul.
I have my own dolly. Brandon, I've helped you move more than once, and we didn't use a dolly at all, or a
True,
U-Haul.
true. Yeah, I go the whole know someone that has a truck method and make many trips. I also don't have that much stuff. I think that's
Right.
part of it.
Yeah.
Usually a U-Haul is required whenever the load is too large.
Yeah.
And I have a large load, don't get me wrong, but not that large.
Eh,
So, um, it's an adequate load.
is it?
So if somebody helps you move and you use their truck, what's like compensation apart
It's
from
my
your load?
it's my father.
Okay. Right.
Mostly. So he's lucky I don't smack him across the fucking head for letting me use it. So he gets nothing. He gets my resentment.
The few times I've had other people help me move, which is not usually because I feel like if I have other people help me move, then that means I'm obligated to help them move in the future. And I thought that would work if I didn't ask people to help me, but they still invite me to help them move anyway. So, but anyway, either my father-in-law's truck with his trailer, or yeah, just straight up U-Haul, and then anybody who's there just or buying pizza and beer and
Beer and pizza is the minimum. And
Mhm.
if the moose starts in the morning, I expect coffee and
oh, of course, donuts,
continental
yeah.
breakfast, something like that.
Coffee and donuts minimum.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah, I try not to do things that require physical labor in the mornings ever. So that includes moving, but sometimes it just can't be avoided.
Exactly.
I can't even tell you guys how many times someone's asked me to help them move and they're like, we're starting at 7. And I'm like, can I meet you at 10? Like, I'll come help unload, but I'm not. If you would have said we're moving at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I would have said, great, I'll be there. You tell me 7 o'clock. No,
Have you ever gone?
I'm helping you and you're being rude.
Have you ever gone to help somebody move and they haven't packed yet?
Multiple times with mutual friends of ours.
I know who you're talking about.
Many times with multiple friends of ours.
And it sucks when the person's so close that you can't leave. Because in hindsight, I would be like, if that happens again and you're not packed, like, I'm here to help you move, not help you pack or unpack. And I would just turn around and leave. But if it's a really close friend, it's like you can't, If one
Right.
moving day, you can't just leave them high and dry. But that's low. It's real low.
I have one friend who would complain regularly about another, like we helped another friend move and they were like, they didn't pack at all. They were just, they're like, I wouldn't do that. And then like when it came time for them to move, I helped them pack for 2 hours before we started putting boxes in the truck. And then they sat at the dinner table and like ate lunch while I packed the truck. I mean, they eventually helped too, but I was like,
You hate to see it.
bro,
You really do.
that's why I try not to even tell people I'm moving if I can help it, I have, but I want it to be as light of a commitment as possible,
Right.
which usually means I hate my life by the end of the day. This is the HP Podcast. We talk about video games and moving and U-Hauls from time to time, I suppose. You can help support us over on Patreon at patreon.com/handsomephantom, where all sorts of folks come and support us for as little as $1 a month. You can be one of them. We will give you the privilege of supporting us for $1 a month if you would like to. Ad-free early access to the show. Of course, the show is now recording live on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And you can hang out with our Discord if you want to. It's totally free. No obligation for anything other than just hanging out, talking about video games and life in general. handsomephantom.com/Discord. We appreciate having you over there as well. Boys, we don't have like a ton of stuff on the docket, which is okay. We'll have that fabled short show, potentially. But I figured we should get started. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Xbox has unveiled a VR headset, but not really. I mean, I guess they literally have, but this comes directly from the Xbox website. It says today in collaboration, this was a couple days ago, yesterday actually. In collaboration with Meta, we're excited to announce the launch of the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition. The MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition limited edition release, the first limited edition ever for Quest, is part of our ongoing partnership and celebrates the expansion of Xbox Cloud Gaming beta on MetaQuest headsets. Over the past several years, Xbox has expanded the cloud gaming experience to more places and more players. Since the announcement of the Xbox app on Quest, our goal has been to empower more people to play their favorite games whenever and wherever they want. Today, with the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition, we are bringing this vision to life with a new design that celebrates Xbox iconic aesthetic. So, they go on to detail that it will be available starting yesterday for $400 US. It includes 128 gig MetaQuest 3S in Xbox Carbon Black and Velocity Green, with matching controllers, a limited edition Xbox wireless controller, an Elite strap, 3 months of Meta Horizon Plus, and 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. There's a lot more detail in the post, but I think we all get the point, right? Xbox said, this is an Xbox, and then put a different paint job on it, and sold it. Pretty brilliant, if you ask me. Dave, what do you think about this? In the notes you wrote up here, and thank you for doing it, on the title of the show, you named the show Your Face is an Xbox.
Sure is.
Your face is an Xbox.
Xbox isn't the only thing that wants to sit on your face.
Hey.
Hey, I didn't know that green was called Velocity Green, and I wonder if it's like, you know, like Coca-Cola Red or Detroit Lions Honolulu Blue. I love that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is it kind of seems to fall in with Microsoft's recent strategy of Xbox literally anywhere.
Yeah.
And that focus on cloud, because you know, this appears to be similar to the ROG Ally we got a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to call it reskinned, but it's like a special edition. You know, with the ROG Ally, it's definitely a different device aesthetically, at least a little bit, whereas this MetaQuest seems to be, it literally just seems to be an Xbox edition of an existing piece of hardware. So it's again similar to the ROG Ally for me. Hearing all these rumors about, you know, Xbox, Microsoft entering the VR market potentially, this wasn't really what I had in mind. I get excited for any kind of hardware, even if it's VR, which is something I'm not super interested in, but this just doesn't really hit the same way for me. But again, it's consistent with what Microsoft seems to be doing, which is something that I think the company has been lacking for a little bit of time. So it's good to see them kind of have one unified direction. What I will be interested to see, and considering this was kind of a low investment entry into the VR market, I doubt this will happen. But will Microsoft start to invest in having some of its more headline studios develop VR focused experiences? The way that this article is written up kind of seems a lot more focused on, you know, existing Xbox games that you can now play on MetaQuest, which is, you know, those aren't necessarily VR games, but games you can play in VR. So I would be interested to see if, you know, we see a Bethesda studio come out with something that, you know, draws the industry's attention from like a proper VR game perspective. But at this point, it doesn't look that way. It would be cool if this announcement was accompanied with, you know, some other Microsoft first-party VR title coming, because I think that's what VR needs more of. But if the idea is just, you know, Game Pass on a headset, then I guess this is what you're going to get out of it. But yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Xbox and Meta have had, like, they've had Game Pass on the Quest for a while now, right? Like, that's not a new service. It's just they put a paint job on hardware.
Yeah, and is it like there's going to be a native Xbox mobile app, or the app is going to be native on the device? I'm not sure, but
yeah. I think it might already be. I'm not positive. I have a Quest. I just don't know. I haven't looked into it that deeply. Maybe somebody in chat will tell us. Brandon, what do you think about this? I know you're not a VR guy, and you also hate Xbox and Master Chief himself.
Right. I love this where they're like, oh, the MetaQuest now has the signature Xbox looks, which is the color black and green. I don't know that. I mean, sure, Target's colors are red and white, and McDonald's are yellow and red, and I get what they're going with this. I just think it's funny because it doesn't look any different. It's just different colored. Xbox is literally everything now. We're continuing to see them diversify in this way. First, we have the AMD. Now we have the MetaQuest. I think we're going to continue to see many, many, many more things like this coming from Xbox. The partnership way seems to be the direction they're heading. And honestly, it's smart for the same reasons we said about whenever we talked about the ROG. You know, you can partner with someone and take some of the profit, and a lot of the initial cost and startup cost is out of the way because it's a partnership. So, yeah, I think this is another smart move for Xbox. Once again, to bring people into their ecosystem, even if it is merely a paint job and you're still just simply buying a MetaQuest, you are buying into their ecosystem by buying this, period. So it is smart. They're going for the everywhere approach. And they're really, really doing an okay job of that right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Anything else to say about this? Like, I don't.
The controller looks cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's cool. I think the MetaQuest is normally the same price even without that, if I'm not mistaken. So, hey, if you were already thinking about getting the Quest, you can get an Xbox controller for free.
Yeah, and I mean, if you were considering it and it is the same price, then there's no, like you said, you might as well. It literally just comes with more shit.
And Game
If
Pass.
it's the same price, and you get 3 months of the MetaQuest Plus, whatever the fuck that means, and the Elite
What
strap.
is that? I got to look it up. The Elite strap is legit. Meta Horizon Worlds is an online virtual reality game with an integrated game creation system. So it's Roblox in VR.
Great.
What is Meta Horizon Plus? Let's look that up. A VR subscription, $7.99 US a month. Oh, it's like a gaming catalog. Okay.
That's pretty cheap. Yeah, that's
So you get 3 months of all the games you can play from Meta, and also 3 months of all the games you can play from Xbox, which means you will play Elder Scrolls that came out 15 years ago for the 900th time.
Right.
So the whole 3 months you have it. Cool. I mean, I agree. I think it's cool. I just it's a great marketing ploy, right? Because it's not anything new. But it's making like waves and people are feeling positive about it. So it's a great marketing play. That's all I have to say about that. A $5 indie game has sold more than 1 million copies in less than a week. This comes from PCGuide.com. It says every now and then a small indie game surprises everyone with a success. This time it's a game called Peak, a co-op climbing game that quietly launched last week on June 16th. It's become a sleeper hit, much to the developer's surprise. If you head over to SteamDB, you'll see that just within 6 days, Peak has reached a peak concurrent player count of 103,000. The game started with just 2184 players at launch and has seen steady growth since then. On top of that, the game's publisher, AgroCrab, shared an update on their official X account confirming that Peak has sold 1 million copies within its first 6 days, which is an incredible achievement. And this is likely just the beginning, as there's a good chance the game could sell over 2 million copies by the end of the month. I want to talk about this a little bit from a couple different perspectives. One, indie games don't usually sell 1 million copies. Like, that's just the reality of things. Two, AA and sometimes even AAA games don't always sell 1 million copies. So like, it's still pretty incredible. And it is, yes, it's only $5. That's part of it. But the other thing that's really interesting to me is AgroCrab, the people who published the game, said they were the ones who made Another Crab's Treasure. And they were like, even Another Crab's Treasure, which was a pretty big hit, didn't sell 1 million copies total, I think. So all in all, just a pretty cool story. Dave, I wanted to throw it to you and see what you thought about this. And have you played Peak?
So I haven't, but I did see a few of the streamers that I regularly watch play this game. So I don't know whether that AgroCrab went pretty aggressive with the streamer marketing kind of angle, or if it just caught on and kind of went a little bit viral. In any case, yeah, this game, it seemed to catch a lot of people sort of off guard, because it's $5 game. It certainly is in that vein of like Lethal Company, where it's a social focus game, and it's got, I don't know if it's proximity chat, but if you watch the trailer, it's actually got live chat in the trailer, just to really push that the social co-op piece is the main selling point. And I think with a lot of, you know, these small indie titles that have kind of gone viral and sold a lot of copies, I think they really try to hammer home one big mechanic, or one, like, you know, really focused mechanic. And it's not necessarily, you know, the sales pitch is, you know, lots and hundreds of hours of content, but it's something that you're going to have fun with for 10 hours, which, you know, is normally something that might turn a lot of people off. But when the game is $5, why not?
For the record, it is $8 now.
Okay, so
that must have just been like a launch price.
Yeah, I mean, sub $10.
The point's not lost, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, there is an opportunity right now because I mean, consumers are very price sensitive at the moment. So I think there is an opportunity to appeal to people with that sub $10 price tag, even if it's a game that you're only going to play for 5 to 10 hours. And you put on top of that, it's a co-op experience. You're going to have some laughs with your friends. It should be no surprise that games like this and like Lethal Company and you go back and look at some of the other ones that are just kind of taking off. The other thing is I think indie developers are trying to also capitalize on these short development cycle games. A lot of these games that have kind of hit, they're not games that have been in development for 5+ years. They're things that they put out. Hopefully they do well enough to make the next game, and they kind of move on. So it's I guess the only cautionary thing is for every one of these games, there's thousands of others that no one ever talks about. So it's great to see a game like Peak do so well, and go out and buy it, support an indie, write a review on Steam. But yeah, there's a lot more games that go completely unnoticed that are probably just as good as Peak and try to do something similar that Peak does. And let's keep in mind that Peak is doing something that Lethal Company did. But anyways, it's cool to see, and I love seeing these small games get lots of attention. So
Endo.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of echo what Dave said. I mean, whether it's content warning, whether it's repo, whether it's Among Us, there's all of these games, and a lot of them to me, uh, there are many, many indie games that do very well and break the mainstream and sell hundreds of thousands of copies that are not multiplayer focused. But I think it's something big that I keep noticing is that these smaller, less expensive, more compact experiences that are multiplayer that maybe don't fully focus on the multiplayer aspect, but certainly have large functional aspects in their game that revolve around multiplayer, that revolve around the party setting, seem to be doing very well. This seems to be a bit of a wave that hasn't quite died down yet. Repo being uh, the top dog in this wave recently. Um, Repo sold about double the copies this game has. But yeah, man, it's cool. And to think that they had another really good game, another Crab's Treasure, albeit didn't do quite as well, didn't sell quite as many copies. But I'm positive this will have a reciprocating effect on their development, and that people will be interested in other things they've made in the past. So yeah, I love to see it. I've seen a little bit about this game. I didn't realize it was doing quite as good as it was. But yeah, man, I love it, and I love this whole push for multiplayer fun stuff. And the bite size experience is really refreshing. And just quality overall, especially for the money. Even if you get, like Dave said, 10 to 15 hours out of it, I think it's well worth the $8, the $10, the $15 price tag that you might pay for a game like this.
The strategy is pretty genius too, because the 16th was the last day of Next Fest. So they got the boost from Next Fest most likely. Who knows if they didn't go into it with very much traction, it looks like, just based on SteamDB information. Probably had a decent uptick during that. They had already planned on releasing on the 16th. They put the game out at a discount, rode the wave. Now it's off sale, so people who just heard about it are going to pick it up. And then I imagine, I don't know this for sure, that they're going to be participating in the Steam Summer Sale, which starts this week. So this game could potentially sell quite a few copies just in its first couple weeks. But yeah, that $5 price point for anything is appealing to me, but especially if it's a good game. Like, it's even better, right? And creates a lot of viral moments and fun. So pretty cool. Like seeing that. I care way more about an indie game selling 1 million copies than I do about a AAA game selling 30 million. Like, I just do. Like, not just because of my job or because of whatever, but like, that's just, it's way cooler to me to see like a team of 5 people become millionaires overnight than to see a bunch of CEOs become even more billionaires over the course of the year. So anyway, moving on to the next story. NetEase has announced its first AAA single player game. It's called Blood Message, and it looks pretty cool according to PC Gamer. They said that a new action adventure game set in medieval China, Blood Message, has been revealed with a suitably epic trailer for its epic historical journey. Developed by NetEase's 24 Entertainment, Blood Message will be a cinematic single-player linear story-driven action adventure. That's a mouthful. Powered by Unreal 5 and released for PC and consoles. NetEase said in a press release that it considers Blood Message to be its first AAA single-player title. Set during China's Tang Dynasty, often considered the true golden age of Chinese history, Blood Message is about a nameless messenger and his young son making the 1,000-mile journey from Dunhuang to the Chinese imperial capital as they seek aid from the Tang Empire from an uprising against the occupying Tibetan Empire. The game will be narrative-driven, focused on cinematic storytelling, and will feature brutal survival combat mixed with stealth and survival mechanics. Brandon's gone. Dave, it's pretty unusual for NetEase to dip their toes into the single player market, but do you think that signals anything, or was there another reason that you wanted to talk about this game?
Well, I wanted to talk about it because it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
I think anything NetEase is worth kind of talking about because of many reasons, but I saw a snippet of this trailer earlier this week, and it kind of made me think of the first time I saw footage from Black Myth Wukong.
Mm.
And I remember when I saw that footage, I was a little bit pessimistic. And I feel like I thought, this is a vertical slice. This is a tech demo. I'm getting Killzone 2 or Watch Dogs because there's no way that the final product is actually going to look and feel like what they're showing me right now. And sure enough, I was proven wrong. And Black Myth Wukong came out and it was everything they promised. And it was, you go back and you look at the original footage that kind of went viral, and it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So I combine that with the fact that I'm kind of starving for something truly next gen or current gen now, because we're several years into this generation, and we only occasionally get to see things like this, because I do think from a visual fidelity standpoint that we're starting to approach a ceiling. So it's not often that things make me go wow anymore, and this one definitely did. And I think back to like the heyday of the PS3 360 era when we were seeing like the Uncharted stuff and very set piece heavy cinematic video games, and like this kind of made me a little bit nostalgic for that. I also like that it looks, it's very historically grounded, it's realistic, it's not super like magical or fantastical or anything like that. The combat looks really like heavy and weighted and just like a cinematic game, because we don't really get those at the same pace that we used to. And we kind of just talked about with Peak, like how there is an opportunity to make cheaper games, but you have a company like NetEase who clearly has the resources to still make risky AAA experiences. So we're not going to get many of these games, and it's clearly not going to be live service, so that's another really cool thing. So yeah, I don't know, it just really caught my eye, and despite the fact that it's coming from NetEase, I still really want to play this when it comes out. So I don't know, did you watch the trailer for Blood Message or see any
I did watch the trailer. I watched it without sound, unfortunately, just because of the scenario I was in, but it does look cool. And I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I know the trailer says NetEase. I didn't realize it was NetEase because it doesn't look like something they would typically produce, which is a good thing, in my opinion. I don't know what that means for, the shape of the industry and everything, because we've argued about whether NetEase is a savior or a devil, but I think it's cool that they're doing something different, and hopefully it pans out. I'm kind of with you on that whole, with Ghost of Tsushima, where I was like, I was not interested in that game. I thought it looked cool and whatever, but I just didn't care until like the day it came out, and Brandon and a bunch of our other friends were playing it, and they were like, you have to play it. And then I went and tried to find it, and I think I went to like 4 stores before I found it. And then our buddy Phil, RIP, was like, dude, can you grab me a copy somewhere? And I think I got the last 2 copies in like within an hour of my house.
Sorry, you said
Probably.
Ghost of Tsushima. Did you make Black Myth?
I thought you said Ghost of Tsushima earlier.
No, I said Black Myth. But
Never mind.
Similar circumstances.
Yeah, I guess it is similar circumstances in some respect, but yeah, I didn't. It was unassuming, and that's like when I look at this game, I'm like, like it's another one. You know what I mean? But I have a feeling I'm going to end up regretting that later on. Brandon, I know you were indisposed for a moment, but did you get a chance to check out Blood Message?
I watched a little bit of the trailer. I mean, it looks fine. I don't really like a lot of what NetEase does, but I'm willing.
But they've
to
never done something like this before.
Well, I mean, their games generally. So maybe this is a nice new direction for them. I'm always championing.
There's Marvel content somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's probably most of the reason I don't like it. But yeah, I'm always about the single player. I love seeing the studios try something new. So who knows? Maybe this is their new thing. I would love for a new, decent single player studio lineup to be started, and new IP is always good. So I think it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
You know what I thought of, Brandon? I don't know if you heard me talk, but I thought of Uncharted when I saw this. And I know you recently played through the Uncharted series, so maybe it'll be a bit of nostalgia for you. Who knows?
Yeah.
PS Plus is celebrating 15 years of existence. That's their 15th birthday. This comes from the PlayStation blog, and it says PlayStation Plus is celebrating its 15-year anniversary later this month, and it's amazing to see how much the service has evolved since it was first launched on June 29th, 2010. They go on to specify that they'll be adding Diablo 4, King of Fighters 15, Jasant, and a bunch of other celebrations they'll be having. PS Plus premium members can jump into a trial of WWE 2K25, which launched months ago now. Game trial for Monster Hunter Wilds. They'll have a PlayStation Store exclusive offer weekend coming this weekend, where if you are a PlayStation Plus member, you get some discounts on stuff. They're going to have a PS Plus pack for Valorant, a bunch of tournaments happening. 15% discounts for Sony Pictures Core, and an online multiplayer weekend where if you don't have PlayStation Plus, you can still play multiplayer on PlayStation. Boys, I know that all 3 of us have gone through phases where we've either had PlayStation Plus or we haven't. And right now, I don't know if any of us have it. Maybe I'm wrong with Dave. Maybe Dave has it. No to that. But Dave, I wanted to get your feedback on, do you remember the first time you used PlayStation Plus? What did it mean then? What does it mean now? I don't know.
I've been thinking about this all day, and I don't recall when I first got PlayStation Plus. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have, like, I remember the first time I convinced my mother to let me use her credit card to get Xbox Live so I could play Halo 2, but I don't have the same kind of memories with PS Plus. In fact, I think because I had kind of committed to Microsoft's online environment first, I kind of shied away from paying the extra money for PS Plus. And I think it was only until recently when this is recent, but when it was required to play online games, that's when it became more of a normal thing for me. But
yeah,
I don't know, maybe that's just kind of a testament that I don't really see this service in a very positive light. It's more of a necessary evil for me. And I have to agree with Edward in chat. This is kind of a, as he says, week celebration. You know, it's an anniversary of a PlayStation service going live. 15 years is not a short amount of time, and it just seems like a bunch of random, demo
here's some
periods.
discounts.
Yeah, it's like, why isn't it focused on PlayStation stuff? Why isn't it more of just a press release? Why wasn't this wrapped into the state of play that wasn't that long ago? Why don't we get another state of play? Like, I don't know. This feels like a big thing, and it's not really being celebrated as such. So, like, the biggest thing that came out of this for me was Diablo 4 is on PS Plus. That's cool. But the rest is it's a bit of a flop for me. So I don't know. Do you guys have any like specific fond memories from your early days of PS Plus, or just me?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember getting my PS4 and having the free games be really cool for a while.
Yeah.
The magic wears off quick when you realize that you can never get rid of it if you ever want to play those games. But to be honest with you, I'm in complete agreement. This is insanely weak. They really should have leaned into the PlayStation IP and give us something, man. Like Uncharted Collection free for 2 weeks, or like Last of Us Part 1, not the remaster, the original free for this long. Like something, man. Like I don't know. It's kind of sad, honestly, and I being away from the ecosystem, I have literally no desire to ever get it again unless it's for a very, very, very specific reason.
Hmm.
And unless that happens, unless there is one specific game that I absolutely must, and even then, I'm gonna buy a 30-day try. I'm gonna buy a 30-day something, and it's just a means to an end.
They really missed a good opportunity to celebrate history because PlayStation, I feel like, does a decent job with that, with Easter eggs and during
Astrobot, and
yeah, I was gonna
like
say
all
an
that. Yeah,
Astrobot, yeah. And they, like, if they really want, like, if they really wanted to draw people in, be like, okay, this month you can get like every game we put out for PS Plus in the first year it existed, or the first year it had free games. You can claim them all right now, any ones that are available or whatever, or have a lineup of like all these games are back from that time period. They haven't been ported before. Here they are, whatever. But like, hey, Sony Pictures, by the way, you can get a discount on a movie.
yeah. It's
And
like
here's a free trial of a wrestling game that came out 6 months ago. Happy 15 years.
yeah, like Astrobot. 50% off, 40%. Like something like that's such a celebration of the ecosystem of the Sony IP.
Mhm.
Like I don't know, man. It's just, and I know there's still a bunch of people playing Diablo, but who fucking cares?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, at this point, who fucking cares? So
yeah.
it's a swing and a miss for me.
Radic wants to know if any of us had PS Plus during the PS3 era. I did, and I remember the major outage during the PS3 era when PS Plus was gone for like a month, and they came back and they gave us some stuff, but man, that was a rough time during that period when it didn't exist, or it existed, but I mean, nobody really knew what was going on, including Sony. Everybody was pretty sure that our information was stolen by who knows who. That was like a news cycle for a good month at least.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah. What games did I choose? I don't remember. I don't even remember what was offered at this point. I have a feeling I didn't play them. In fairness, like I probably had already played them. Yeah, I bought both of those at launch, Infamous and Little Big Planet. So I don't think that the games were that appealing to me. I remember being disappointed. Dude, there's podcasts that I have backed up on like Google Drive from that era where I used to talk about it every week. So I'm sure if I ever went and found those and listened to them, they'd be in there. It'd be in there somewhere, that discussion. Okay, just for clarity, Radic says they offered Infamous, Little Big Planet, Wipeout, Dead Nation, and Super Stardust. If I had to guess, I got Dead Nation and Wipeout.
Oh, I definitely got Dead Nation. I remember that now.
Yeah. But
Probably Infamous, but
I own all 5 of those games, so I don't remember which I got when and everything. So.
Dead Nation, man. So I wonder if I still own that, or if I have PS Plus, or re-up PS Plus if I still have access to that game.
No, I think because of the outage, they gave you those games.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a typical PS Plus game where you had to have it. Dude, back in the day with Games with Gold on Xbox, if you redeemed the game during an active subscription, you kept it even if you canceled the subscription.
Yep.
They eventually changed that, which I understand why. But when PlayStation Plus came along and they were like, you only get to keep it if you keep your subscription, I was like, well, that sucks, first of all. And I do like the fact that back in the day, PlayStation Plus used to included Vita games and included VR games at one point. But I just don't feel like it's a service that I personally find a lot of value in anymore. And in fairness, I don't play primarily on PlayStation. If I did, I'm sure I would utilize it more. But yeah. All right. That's the news. Let's talk about what we have been playing this week. Brandon, since yours is goal, or not goal, but resolution oriented to some extent,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So last week I completed Resident Evil 1. It was like pulling teeth. And I had started Resident Evil 2 with the intention of only playing through one of the characters. I had started Claire last week, and I was most of the way through the playthrough. Uh, in a couple more sittings, I completed both Claire and Leon's story. I was being shamed here last week, and so I felt it only, I felt my pride welling up. And so I had to, kind of see this through, so that way I didn't get any shit from Ben or Dave. And what I will say is they were right. They were right. Everyone in chat was right. Everyone in my stream was right. It's definitely worth playing both playthroughs. Absolutely. So, amazing. Honestly, I like it as much as Resident Evil 7, and that was my current number one. I had only played that or Village, and Resident Evil 7 was definitely the standout of the two for me. This one is really, really high up there for different reasons. Resident Evil 2 Remake is a masterpiece. I think it is fan-fucking-tastic. I'm very, very grateful I got to play it. But I also beat Resident Evil 3. Shout out to Waffles for gifting me the original skins so I could have Jill. Yeah, Jill Valentine in a tube top. That was fantastic. Fantastic. I beat that in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 3, a very disappointing by comparison follow-up to Resident Evil 2. It was very cool going back to Raccoon City Police Station and going to some of the locations I had just been at in the other game, Resident Evil 2. But overall, kind of a lackluster go. Nemesis was very annoying to me in a way that Mr. X wasn't. I mean, he always shows up places, Mr. X. But I found it to just be bothersome rather than scary. What I will say I did like about Resident Evil 3, it's much more actiony, and that's what I was told going into it. I loved that in the fact that I had way more bullets to spare. It felt way less stressful, especially in my second playthrough as Leon on Resident Evil 2. I felt like the ammo was very scarce, and it was something that I was constantly thinking about in the back of my mind. I spent a lot of time running or trying to dodge unsuccessfully. So the fact that I could just kind of blow my load all over Nemesis's face constantly was really great. I also really like the dodge. I think the dodge is a very nice mechanic that I kind of wish had been in 2 and in 4. But yeah, so I finished up 3. Very short. Was a lot of fun, but definitely hard to follow up to with a game like that. So, and I am about 1/3 of the way through 3. I'm just about to go to I'm about 1/3 of the way through 4. I started 4 a couple days ago, and I gotta say, man, 4 so far, I'm a little early, but 4 so far might be as good as 2.
Yeah.
It might be as good as 2. Resident Evil 4 is the remake I'm playing right now. I'm fucking loving it. Seriously. I love what they've added to it. I love the theme. I love how the story's going so far. I love the constant fear of the villagers, like just sometimes hobbling around, and then other times they're like literally full sprinting at you with like pickaxes and stuff, and like a million of them coming at you at once, and the cow people and the people with the chainsaws. It's really fucking good, man. 4 has been an absolute treat so far. I'm getting a lot of the same feelings I was with 2. Obviously, slightly different thematically, but it is cool to beat Leon again. He's so much more cunty in this one than he was in 2, and I really appreciate that about him. But yeah, I'm on a really, really fast track forward. I know my haters were trying to get me down, but I'd say I'm about 1/3 of the way through. I know I'm at number 4 of 8, but I know that 5 and 6 are a bit of a slog, more specifically 6. So I'd say conservatively, I'm between 1/3 and a half done potentially with my journey here in about a week or 2. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really good, man. I've very, very, very much look forward to playing these games every single time I sat down, excluding Resident Evil 1. That's actually what kind of stopped my momentum. But everything, including 3, every time I sit down, it's an absolute treat to continue to play. So 4, I'm going to be sad when it's over. Just kind of, I I hopped into 3 so quickly after 2, but I was very sad when that was over too. So, um,
Resident Evil 4, can you believe that game came out on the GameCube first?
yeah, it's crazy.
It's so funny to think about. And then I think I played it on the Wii after that, which is even funnier to think about.
You know what's nice, Brandon, is you didn't know this going into starting this journey, but when you finish, you're going to have Resident Evil 9 shortly after.
That's
So,
I was just thinking that. I don't know if I mentioned that last week, but this is actually so perfect where I'm like going through, right? But yeah, it's been wonderful. I've done this with a couple game series. I did this with Uncharted. It's probably been a couple years now. I did it with God of War. That's also been a couple years. I did those kind of back to back. And now going through Resident Evil. I love doing this. It's sometimes very difficult, and depending on the series, it might be kind of difficult to play all in the same place of a series like this. And I know what you're gonna say. I've not played Veronica. I've not played Zero. Yeah, whatever. Uh, but to play them sequentially like this, so cool. It's so fucking cool to kind of get this taste of this series all at once, and to kind of
If you finish them, you should go back and play Zero. And I guess Veronica, but definitely Zero.
right, yeah. Um, but yeah, man, it's been an absolute treat, truly. Um, I am very much looking forward. My payoff now, so I'm gonna savor 4 while I can, because 5 and 6 are gonna be kind of. I'm assuming they're going to be kind of annoying and uninteresting. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think that's another lull in the series, as far as a lot of people have told me. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be convinced otherwise. But the payoff is going to be 7 and 8 here, so I got to kind of keep pushing. I have a little bit of sweet left in 4. I got 5 and 6. I think 6 is going to be difficult for me, just because I've heard the length is. It kind of overstays its welcome from what I've heard. I could be wrong. I've never played it, but this is what I've heard. So, it's good. Derek O, do I have a co-op partner for RE5 ready to go? I have a couple people who have been willing to play it with me. If I have an open spot, anyone is welcome. I would much rather play with somebody in a co-op game. I feel like that makes the most sense. So, anyone and everyone is welcome. Join the Discord. If I am on and I have an open spot, you're welcome.
Nice. Anything else, Brandon?
Oh, I also played a game about digging a hole. Really, Ben talked about this before. I'm sure a lot of you know about it. It's literally a game about digging a hole in a backyard. Really nice, just bite-sized couple of hour experience. I don't think there should be many games made like this, but it was kind of refreshing to kind of finish something literally in like 2 hours. It was kind of like, okay, well, I never have to play this again. It wasn't very interesting, but it, occupied my brain for a little bit of time, and now I can move on. So that was kind of cool. It was already in my Steam library. I don't know why I decided to download it, but I was just sitting on the couch on Moonlight, and I said, you know what, we're going to try this. Actually, my family was over, and I was kind of bored, so I started playing. And then like an hour in, like everyone's invested and they're like, "Oh my God, remember when you started with like a little tiny hole and now I have this like fucking cavernous abyss below?" So, yeah, I ended up beating it. I skirted around the giant moles, spoiler alert, but yeah, really good. Really good. Just a lot of games recently, boys. I've been streaming a lot. I've been playing so many games. In a matter of like a week or two, I've played 30 or 40 hours of games easily. So it's been really good. I've had a lot of days off to do that. It's not always going to be like this, but I've utilized my days off really well as far as my video game goals go in. So yeah, it's been great. It's been really
Nice.
good.
I'll go ahead and go. For me, I've been playing more Dune, still really enjoying it. I've been progressing the story more, and the story definitely opens up a lot more once you get to a certain point. Almost too much to an extent. Not actually too much, but like the other night, I was like, oh, I'm just going to run through this mission because a lot of the missions are really quick. and I ended up taking like an hour, and I was like, I was gonna go to bed like 40 minutes ago, but that's okay. I'm still loving it. It's survival crafting. It's a good time. I also you guys both talked about Spilled, having played it recently, so I figured it was my turn. Again, great game, 100% it in like an hour. It's a great little experience and very relaxing, very chill, and satisfying is the word I think I'd look for it. I don't know if I'd go quite as far as cozy. You know, some people would put it in the cozy category, but relaxing and chill are words I would use. And then I talked a little while back about maybe playing some Borderlands before the new one came out, and Dave encouraged me that I should, and other people have encouraged me that I should again. And so I popped out the Borderlands Game of the Year Ultimate Edition, whatever it's called. I don't know. I have it already. I own it, and figured I'd play it. And I'm playing it on my Steam Deck because a friend of mine told me it runs great there. So I've been playing Borderlands, the first Borderlands, on my Steam Deck, and that's both so I can play Borderlands and also partially so that I can continue to work on that goal of playing my handhelds more than I did last year. There's a little bit of a problem with the launcher, but it's like once you can get in, you have to boot it a certain way, and then once you get in, you can disable the launcher. So it's fine after that. The funny thing about it was, I know I've played this game before, and I started it another time. The time I didn't remember, and apparently I had a save on Steam saved that I had like 6 hours in from 2019, which is not that long ago. You'd think I would remember, but I do not. But I have like 6 hours in it, and I started that save in 2019. So I just deleted it and started over. I'm still in like the opening area, probably a couple hours in at this point, but it does run fantastically on the Steam Deck. And I don't love playing shooters with a controller, but that is the way I played the original Borderlands the first time I played it. So it's okay with me. I'm totally cool. Why do I see it says hell yeah in the chat, and it says I said it, but I didn't say it.
That was me. I thought it would come through as me.
Oh,
but apparently
okay.
it's you. But you were agreeing with the fact that Ada Wong is the baddest of RE baddies.
Okay,
Not
fair enough. I don't know if Derek is asking me which character I went with.
He is from Borderlands.
Okay. What's the I don't know, the first one that you're the brawler guy he's like a big Brick. Yeah. That's the one. I'm with this one I didn't really care much about being experimental because I've played the game multiple times and I never really found any difference. I mean, there literally is a difference in how you play it, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to play it.
Those class skills didn't really get cool until the second one, I think.
Yeah. I find myself pretty often forgetting I have that ability to activate it. Like I don't find the need to. Man,
what is his ability?
It like gets really powerful and rages out. Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's just forgettable. I know in the second one, I can't remember the little guy. I played as him, and he just went into like rage mode. Oh, he had dual wielding.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because he was like 2 feet tall and running around with 2 submachine guns. But
I forgot how many of the stupid little creatures in the first whelp or something like that in the first zone that you're in. I don't know, they look like little hedgehogs or something.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like there are so many of them.
Yeah.
Like an insane amount of them, and I don't remember that from what I played it before. That there were that many, but there's constantly a ton. And I'm like, really, I gotta shoot 900 of these before I can even walk past them. It's kind of annoying, but you get a lot of loot, and it is a looter shooter, so it is what it is. Dave, you're up.
Sure. I finally picked up Super Space Club. This is an indie that I've been talking about for a while. It is 60% off on Steam right now. So I think it was about almost $7 for me. So about 30 cents for you guys. And I think that's a good price for it. $6 because there's not a whole lot to this game, but that's okay. Made by one guy, really simple, really chill. Again, on one of those games that you just kind of throw on with a podcast. but the music is unreal. It's like this really cool mix of original tracks that are like a little bit of hip hop, jazz, R&B. It kind of reminds me of like early days Childish Gambino with a more positive, upbeat vibe to it. And yeah, the only thing is there's not really that much of it, which again isn't a huge surprise because this game was made by one guy, and I'm sure the budget to kind of produce this type of quality original music wasn't there. But just go on Steam, play the trailer, and like you'll hear the kind of music that you're getting with Super Space Club. But yeah, from a gameplay perspective, it reminds me a little bit of Geometry Wars from back in the Xbox Live Arcade days. um and yeah, it's just kind of like mission based, so you start in a level and it's endless waves until you die. It kind of handles um like your arsenal in an interesting way, where if you if you if you boost or shoot, you kind of deplete a meter, and you have to kind of wait until that meter reloads. And I kind of felt like it was penalizing you for attacking other ships in a way. But I think when you kind of focus on evasion as much as attack, then you kind of see where the balance is. But yeah, I'm glad I picked it up at the price that it is, and I think it's definitely worth checking out for anybody who wants this kind of game in the library. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more. um I've also been playing a little bit more Gran Turismo 7. I got gold on a license test that took me a long time. And it was only the fourth one in the new masterclass license tests. So that just goes to show you how difficult they are. And again, I'm not good at Gran Turismo, I'm just persistent. So yeah, I also played a little bit more Resident Evil Village. I'm out of Lady Demetrius Castle, and yeah, still enjoying the game, still not very scared, but that's okay. But yeah, I unlocked like the cooking system, which I thought was really cool. I believe that was a new thing for the series, where as you find livestock in the game, um you can kind of like make recipes that you give to the Duke, and then that gives you permanent buffs. And I was looking through the ingredients, and I was like, I'm actually going to look out for these things now because I really want these buffs on my character, and they're hard to find. But yeah, Resident Evil Village is still really good. Resident Evil, still not scary, but again, that's okay because it's a beautiful, immersive, atmospheric game, and that's a lot of what you play a Resident Evil game for. So yeah, that's it for me.
Isn't 7 widely considered to be the scariest one?
I would agree with that. I did find Resident Evil 2 remake to be extremely scary. I
Yeah.
think the police station was kind of like peak small dark corridors, lots of windows. I think 7 made me feel grossed out in a way that other games in the series never did, but I think 2 always had me on my toes about,
Mm.
what was going to pop out from around the corner, whether it be Mr. X or some zombie falling out of the ceiling or something. Um,
Dude, the
so yeah,
liquors got me in too, man.
the liquors, yeah.
Dude, those
I find
fuckers.
I find Resident Evil 2 to be more tense than scary. And maybe some people would equate those as the same thing, but
I find 4 to be very tense, especially
yeah.
with the amount of enemies it throws you at a time. Especially if they throw like a heavy enemy in there as well. There were a couple moments when you're locked inside of a house and people keep pouring in through the windows in 4. There's
Mhm.
definitely some heebie-jeebies I had while playing
Yeah.
2 and 4.
Yeah.
3 not so much. 3 is just I feel like I just have guns for days, so.
Right. That's it. That's the show. Appreciate everybody for hanging out, for listening, for watching, whatever you're doing. Don't forget to support us over at patreon.com/handsomephantom. We appreciate having you there. And you can join our Discord at handsomephantom.com/discord and hang out with a bunch of idiots. I make it sound really appealing. And I'm including the 3 of us in that, by the way. I'm not disparaging our audience. I'm saying like we are also part of the idiots. We want you to hang out with us. So come hang out. Anything else, guys? Anything I'm forgetting? If you're going to be at too many games in Philly this weekend, Brandon and I will be there. Come say hey. We'll send the picture to Dave. He can pretend like he was there. And other than that, I guess we'll see you later.
That's it.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.